Greetings, podcast listeners. This is Nick Estes, your host of the Red Nation podcast. Today we have a special episode featuring the Little Earth Youth podcast. Last October, we did a youth project with the Little Earth Youth podcast on the history of the Little Earth Housing Project, which is the only Native preference Section 8 housing in the United States. I just want to say a special thanks to Little Earth United Tribes for allowing us to do this. If you'd like to subscribe and support our work, please go to patreon.com/redmediapr. That's patreon.com/redmediapr. You will help fund and support work like this that we do in the community with young people, introducing them to Native produced media, obviously from a left and progressive perspective. Again, thanks again for listening, and we hope you like this.
My name is Ethan Darrell Amley, born August 2nd, 2010, and I'm from Low Earth. I live over at the WRC, which is 4 blocks from here. It's not far, but it's like we're gonna move, so I don't see no point of telling where I'm living. Yeah, that's okay. Your turn. My role is host 3. I was the designer, but they made fun of my design.
My name is Candy. I'm the producer, and I was born and raised in Little Earth.
Welcome to the Little Earthers podcast. My name is Frank. My role is host 1, and I was born and raised in Little Earth of United Tribes.
And just so you'll know, this isn't going to be the last, and it certainly won't be the first oral history of Little Earth. It'll keep going until there's no more fighting.
You're right. Even right now, we're making history. You all young ones are making history right now.
So, should I start?
Mm-hmm.
How long have you been living at Little Earth?
So I'm Jolene Jones, and I am, I believe, the longest resident here. I've lived here since my mother moved in when I was 11 years old. And I got my own place when I was 17, and I've been here ever since. Oh, no. Almost 50 years.
My name is Little Crow Bellecourt. I grew up here my first 16 years of my life. I guess my folks started out in North Minneapolis with my 2 older sisters, but all I remember is Cluster 1 for my first 16 years. And I graduated high school and my folks moved out, but I still consider myself a part of this community.
Lori Ellis, I was the chairman for the resident council at Lyra for like 25 years, closer to 45, I would say. That's about it.
Good evening, Vinny Dionne. I was born in 1981, and that is when I started living here at Little Earth. I lived here pretty much. I started out my first 15 years. I think I was in Cluster 6. Then we moved over to 5. And then from there, I believe we've been in 4. And I moved out of here maybe 3 years ago. So I'm 42 now. So that'll, that's a long time.
What's your favorite memory / story of Little Earth?
I got so many favorite memories. Let's talk about the most recent one. So my favorite most recent memory is how our community came together to protect our community when George Floyd and the riots were happening all around us and they were so close to us. That's my favorite memory because our community stepped up and we all came together to protect our children and our elders. It was beautiful.
I'm going to agree with you on that one. I have so many memories growing up here. Playing on the sports teams as a kid. I learned how to sing here on the drum back in probably 1989, 1990 when I was an 8-9-year-old boy. And this is where I learned how to sing, and I've been singing ever since then, you know. And through the years, as I became an adult, I always came back here to teach the youth how to sing, you know, and we're trying to pass that knowledge and keep that tradition going of the drum here at Little Earth. Also, that's the name of the drum group that I sing with, the Little Earth Singers. And I'm going to have to agree with Jolene on this one. When, even though it was a really, really, really rough time for our community and everything going on, it brought us together, as scary as it was, as dangerous as it was. But we all came together to protect you all, our children. We came out here to protect our elders. Like I said, very scary times, but it brought us together. And I'm just very proud to be a member of this community. That was like the main thing I got out of that.
My favorite memory, I have a couple. Recently, I would say during the George Floyd riots, I was at home with one leg healing to get my prosthetic, and I would watch videos of how the community came together to protect the neighborhood. And it brought me back to when I was a kid, when we were really tight in Little Earth as a community. Everyone stood up for one another. My other one is when I was young, I learned how to sing on a drum at Hard Ear Survival School. And we would sing in one of the clusters in front of someone's front porch. And there was an older group, the original Little Earth Singers, who all went to school at Hard Earth also. And it wasn't uncommon to see a drum group set up in front of someone's home, young girls dancing in their street clothes. And those are some of my favorite memories. Was any day of the week you would see that going on at Little Earth. You could hear a drum going somewhere on the big side or the little side. So, yeah.
My favorite memories were in the glory days of the movement. Everything revolved around AIM and the people that were involved in the movement, and the community really felt a sense of belonging and well-being when all the riots happened, and it was pretty scary was when it happened. We had families that were driven apart for the longest time, and they all came together, and there wasn't no fighting. That was for sure. And I was so proud of everybody that stood up, because I wasn't able to fight anymore. I was tired of fighting. That's about it.
So, where are you guys from?
I'll go first. I was born and raised right here at Little Earth. I'm still here. I'm an enrolled member of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa, also known as Anishinaabe. But when I go out anywhere in the U.S., around anywhere, I tell them I'm from Little Earth, because this is where I was born. This is what I love. This is what I know. And I always like to show off my Little Earth tattoo. You know, that's because it's a big part of who I am.
So I'm going to say I'm an urban Indian. First generation on both sides, being urban straight up. I was born in South Minneapolis. I live in South Minneapolis. You ask me for where I'm from, I'll tell you Little Earth. But my dad was from LCO. My mom's from White Earth. But I am an urban Indian, first generation.
When I go out and I introduce myself, you always give your name, your clan, where you're from. And so I learned that Aki is the earth and Akins is Little Earth. So I always say Akins and Dao. That means that's where Little Earth is, where I live, where I grew up. So I always acknowledge Little Earth first. I'll tell people, well, my mom's an enrolled member of Bad River. I'm enrolled in Bad River. My dad's from White Earth. But I'll always say Akins and Dao. I'm from Little Earth.
I'm urban Indian from White Earth, Minnesota, and that's where I'll always identify with is White Earth.
How has Little Earth changed since you've been here?
Oh my God, that's a heck of a question, because it's changed so much. I mean, even just in the last 10 years, and I've lived here forever. So it's changed dramatically. We've had ups and downs. We've changed from, some of our changes have been for the better, some have been for the worst. I think it depends on what section we're in our changes. Like right now, I think a lot of the changes going on is our farm, our youth farm. You know, they're going to do aquaponics and all of that. That's so exciting. But we're also facing, like it or not, the opiate epidemic. We have a lot of our grandparents on property who are raising grandkids.
Great,
you know, so there's been so many changes, that it's hard to define just one.
It would probably be a lot easier to ask which decade.
Yeah.
There's so many exciting things that happened here. We thought we were home free when the drug wave came, but we weren't. No way. We weren't going to cross that bridge unscathed. We were going to be right in the thick of it once again.
For myself, I've seen a lot of good changes, a lot of bad changes. But I think that's, you know, that just goes with life. You know, you have your ups and your downs. And when I come to this building here, I see a lot of kids working on projects, doing these podcasts. I hear about the farm. I see a sweat lodge back on Ogama. I see a lodge. We didn't have that as young kids here when I lived here. But we just gotta deal with the times the best we can. That's my answer to the question at hand.
Cool. How PG-13 are we keeping this? PG-13?
May I speak? Well, you're the person that asked the questions, right? What is your position?
Host 1.
Since Cruz is not here, I'll be host 2.
MC?
My question, how has Little Earth changed since you've been here? So as a person who pretty much like grew up here since I was a baby, right? Even as my life changed, you know, I started out here just a young little innocent boy at one point, you know, growing up here, this place always meant the world to me. And at one point in life, I didn't know life outside of between 24th and 25th from Hiawatha to 18th Street, you know, and that's as far as my whole world was in that little bubble right there. And as I became older, I started singing on the drum, and the drum brought me a lot of places. You know, when I was a young boy, I was 12 years old, might have been 11. But our drum group here from Little Earth, we were called the Little Earth Juniors at that time. And they, it was pretty cool. They flew us out to Washington, D.C. We got to sing for the president at the time, Bill Clinton. We got to stay out there a whole week. And the coolest part about that as a kid was it was during a week during school, right? And it was like the week before spring break. So I got like 2 weeks off of school. You know, they hooked us up. You know, we got a nice hotel rooms. We got to go swim in, and we got to meet a bunch of cool people. And it was just an awesome experience for Little Earth kids from here to get to venture out of Little Earth, get to venture out of South Minneapolis and get to see a little bit of the world, you know. And that kind of expanded my horizons and seen more than just what Little Earth is. And I've been a number of places all across the United States. This is my most favorite place in the world. And like you were saying about what decade, you know, because I could break down the decades, how it went, you know. I can go from like the 80s when to me everything was just innocent. Back when the Naturals were running around, you know, then I can go to the 90s, you know, back when the club was running around, you know, and the 90s and is when like stuff really got really real around here in my eyes as far as dangerous, you know. Violence. We became violent around here. And then in the 2000s, you know, that's when the crack epidemic hit us really hard over here in this community. And but we battled back from that. 2010s. Now look where we're at. Now we're facing another epidemic, and it's taken a lot of our people. Working here at Little Earth, I used to work here at Little Earth from 2006 to 2011, and I used to coach the baseball and the basketball teams. And what was hard for me is when my young players, losing them, like they're gone now. And I known them since they were innocent little kids. And as a like a mentor to them, that really hurts me, and that's why I give you all young people so much love. You're from here. That's why I do what I do out here. Me, my brother Crow, Jolene, all of us, we always out here advocating for our community. That's why we're going to always stand up for you all, because you all are our future. And I truly mean that. It might sound so cliche, because when I was a kid and I would hear Crow's dad Clyde saying that to us, and I'm like, yeah, what's he talking about? But there's always going to be a tomorrow, and it's always about learning, building, and growing, and this is what we're trying to do for our community, for you all to go further than we did,
Yeah, the violence in Little Earth was really, really hard to absorb. I mean, we thought we had weathered the worst when the drugs came in here, but little did we know we were just another wave. And then it hit us, and then it got worse. And right now, I think it's going to get worse until, if it does get better, because we've weathered a lot of storms, and this isn't anything like we've ever faced before. But when we got people killing each other just for the love of a drug that we can't fight, we can't see it, we don't know where it's coming from, but we just know it's there, and we're trying our desperate times to pull ourselves up by our bootlaces and try to get it together before the next wave hits, because it'll get worse if we don't find a way to make it better. And I've seen, let's see, I was in my 20s when I started working for Little Earth, and here I am 40 years later, and we still got a wave to deal with, and we don't know what to do. There's people up on the reservations trying to mobilize to get treatment for our addicts, because they are ours. No matter how we feel about them, they are our addicts, and we have to stick together, because if we don't, nobody else will. And I feel like we came through too far and did too much battling to stop now. I know I won't. I don't have a lot of fight left in me, but my kids will know what to do.
Yeah. And let me add, you're right. We're dealing with the hardest thing I've ever seen in my entire life here with our addiction. Fentanyl is real. Meth is real. That's the message I want to say to you young ones. Look what's going on out here. We're losing a lot of young people. And we could all learn from bad things, And so you're young now, you're still innocent, you still have a long life ahead of you. Really, really think about that. If your friends get involved with drugs or anything, or try to get you involved with it, always stay away from them. Because it is, to me, I think it is going to start with you youth not using, and for us to heal as a community.
Yeah, we've just came too far. Why stop now?
Yep.
I think we should go down fighting if we have to.
I'd like to add a little bit to it myself. As Native people, as Indigenous people, the government, they tried to take us out over 100 years ago. Then they try to take us out with boarding schools. Myself, I feel now, this is another thing that's trying to take our people out. It's beyond epidemic proportion. And as long as our young people can learn from what they see going out on these streets now, it's right up the block from Little Earth, and it's right here at Little Earth probably, and just try to learn from it, stay away from it, and we're a resilient people, man. We're a strong people, and always keep that in mind that we're strong, and Little Earth. You got to be strong to live here at Little Earth. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way. We're a strong people, Little Earth people. I just want to add that.
And you guys, I want to add, when it comes to the epidemic we're currently facing, which I believe is true, our community, alcoholism, ain't got nothing on what we're going through right now, you guys. Although alcoholism helped create the issue we're in right now, because of the trauma that happened in houses. Nobody cared about us. Nobody cared when our people were dying. We were in the opiate epidemic before anybody else was, you guys. We were drowning in it before anybody else was. We had over 12 people OD on our property in less than 11 minutes. Even the paramedics didn't know what to do. Out of them 12 people, we only lost one. But you know what? That was one too many. So the Lyra board, the Residents Association, said, we're not going to do this again, whether it's legal or not. We want Narcan. Narcan is now legal. Okay, but it wasn't legal when we started training our community in it. And we trained our kids in it too. The ones that are older than you now, the teenagers, they know how to use the Narcan because we trained them when they were your age. Because they're our first line of defense. They're in the houses when this is going on. And it wasn't really until white kids started dying that anybody gave a shit. And now Narcan's legal. And we're still drowning right now, you guys.
What's going to happen next? What about carfentanil?
Yep.
I mean, that's supposed to be 100 times stronger than fentanyl. What's going to happen then?
That's why you're our hope to end this epidemic, to prevent trauma from happening to you. It used to be, and I'll say it used to be that stuff would happen in our homes, and I don't know how you guys are. They used to tell us when we were kids, what happens in our house stays in our house. That included sexual abuse, physical abuse, everything else that went on. That creates a trauma in children, and they turn to alcohol and drugs. We're hoping you're going to be a generation that's going to be able to speak up and say, hey, I ain't putting up with this. I'm going to tell my counselor, my people at the YDC and that, because I do not want to be traumatized. I do not want to have to turn to drugs for me to feel good about myself. You need to feel good about and be proud of who you are. And everything you face, even if you're young, you need to be proud because you made it through it. And that's our only hope, is you guys to grow up, to say, I'm not going to do drugs. I'm proud of who I am, and everything that's happened to me, they can go to hell. I'm going to do good and be good. All right, I'm done preaching.
Okay,
Go ahead.
what's legal now?
Narcan?
What is that?
So Narcan is naloxone. It's
Naloxone?
I say it wrong all the time. I don't know what the hell did I call it? What it does is it reverses the effects of opiates. But right now, you used to be able to give like one shot of Narcan, maybe two. Now, because of the fentanyl and the carfentanil that Lori was talking about, they got to give 6, 7, 8, 9 shots. We got to fight to get these people back. We got a whole generation of kids out here that ain't going to have grandparents because their kids have lost their mom and dad. And their grandparents are raising them, and they probably won't live long enough to see their grandchildren. So, it's rough for you guys right now. It's rough for us to watch, but you guys are growing up in it. Never be scared to speak out. Never be scared to speak out.
Do you guys know the history of this land?
of this land?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to assume because of where we're sitting that this was Dakota land at one time. But I know my Anishinaabe relatives, too, did a lot of fighting. So they're probably here, too. We were probably all here together at one time because I know down on, what is that called there? That island by...
Prairie Island.
No. Boom Island. That they found an Ojibwe chief that was buried there, Chief Bushyhead. And this is Dakota land, but we always have said that our people come together to celebrate and do things. And that used to be where we would gather and celebrate together. So we've always been together. We've always been relatives. But we're on Dakota land. If that was the question you wanted answered like that.
Who started Low Earth and why?
Little Earth. Okay, here we go. Let's have some fun here, Lori. Correct me if I'm wrong. So Little Earth was originally called South High Housing. So we are built where half of South High used to be. South High, that's up on 35th. 31st used to be right here. So our name used to be South High Housing. And one of the people who helped build this place, name was Teresa Pendegayash. And she pulled in Indian dollars for this place so that our people would have a home. But it wasn't just for our people alone at that time, okay? So they were already having issues even as they were building it, right? So I believe it was Ellie Webster who lived in cluster 7 at the time. 7 was finished. They were still working on 1 and 2. She approached Dennis and Clyde here in Minneapolis about Little Earth and what was going on here and how it was already terrible and it being destroyed in that and how much Indian dollars had went into this place to build it because Teresa helped raise them funds. So AIM came over and said, you know what, we'll help take over. You know, there's a lot of Indian dollars invested here. This needs to be a home for our people. So after AIM took over, they fixed it up. They were doing really good. Then they decided South High Housing wasn't suitable, so they ran a contest to rename us. And an elder by the name of Elaine Taylor, was it Froggy who won? Was it Froggy? No, who was it? It was one of Debbie's boys, I thought. Anyways, there was 2, an elder and a youth who submitted names, and they combined them 2 names together to make us Little Earth of United Tribes, because you know we got about 38 different tribes that live here. And then AIM.
Oh, sorry, but what year did the contest start? It's okay if you don't know, but it's just a question.
I'll say 75, early 75.
Yeah, it was before my time.
Yeah, early 75.
Continue.
I don't know where I was. Continue. Let's see. Then HUD would not give, what do they call them, rent increases that. Anyways, there ended up being a big beef with HUD and AIM. So then we went into what they call receivership. And I'll let Lori take over from there.
That lasted about 12 years.
We battled in a court of law for 12.
Yeah, about 12 years.
In between 12 and 15 years, about, yeah.
Yeah.
I can remember them taking the rent money and putting it towards improvements in the units because they were starting to get run down. And I also heard a story from my mom that there was a meeting in Holy Rosary basement and that Debbie Peterson spoke up and mentioned AIM to HUD and that AIM was doing good things in the neighborhood, that they should turn Southside Housing over to AIM. And HUD said, yeah, they bid. Said, yep.
But
and
they
that's
still kept us in limbo for 12 years.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
So what happened was so what really happened, so let's backpedal here real quick, you guys. So what really happened was Harold LaRose, who lived in Cluster 7, was like telling everybody, because we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have phones like we do now, was telling everybody, did you guys see in the paper that they're going to redo Hiawatha Avenue? And all of a sudden, also in the paper was that Little Earth was up for sale. South High Housing was. So they were going to run the freeway right through the big side of Little Earth. And we were like, hey, wait a minute. What the hell? We live here. So in that process, what we found out was that HUD had foreclosed on us. Okay, they were foreclosing on us. And what that means was they were trying to take their shit back, but it was ours. And
then the fight was on.
Basically. So Elaine Stately, who E.M. Stately is named after, Elaine Stately door knocked Little Earth. And she told our residents, you're going to lose your housing. You need to stand up. You need to stand up and fight for your housing. And that created the Little Earth Residents Association, which in turn, we are the ones, the Little Earth Residents Association, the residents of Little Earth are the ones who sued HUD. We sued HUD. And contrary to what people think, we lost. We did not win. We lost.
But the day before we got notice from the Supreme Court that our case was going to be heard, they backpedaled some more. And then they decided, no, we can't take this on. It's politically too much, and we stand good chance losing.
So then in this court battle, also, you guys, we got the first ever, and we're the only ones that I know of in an urban area who has Indian preference. Then there was a meeting of the OICs. You know what OIC is, you guys? It's the Opportunity Industrial Center. So we have American Indian OIC up here. And the OIC stands for Opportunities Industrial Center. Dr. Sullivan was the head of that, and Clyde was down, I believe, in either Texas or Arizona for a summit for OIC right after we suffered our little defeat. We weren't done with them yet. Henry Cisneros, who happened to be the HUD administrator at the time, Secretary of HUD, pulled Clyde into a room, and Dr. Sullivan told the press, go away, because they knew all hell was breaking loose up here. And Henry Cisneros told Clyde, we can work this out because I honestly believe that Little Earth should be you guys. It should belong to you guys. And then started a whole nother battle, because HUD felt like most white people, like we can't manage our own affairs, right? Like we can't manage our own affairs or do a damn thing. So Lori and them had to work their asses off. They went to tribes, they went all over, and finally we got the LUTEC board, the board that has partly residents on it and partly outsiders on it that own Little Earth. But I probably missed a lot. So if you want to ask other questions, please feel free.
I will. There was 3 questions, but I already asked one of them. That was the cats. Okay, we are not going to start the whole conversation again. But these are 2 more questions from our other interns that we wrote on a board, and they said these are just theories. These are questions. Is Little Earth built over a graveyard? That was one of them.
Part of it is.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. Second question.
Oh, wait, close.
Part of it is built on, I do believe, the Minneapolis, the old city dump. Is there any truth to that? Lori and Jolene are a little bit older, but was that just East Phillips Park?
That was just East Phillips Park, I believe. I don't
East
believe it
Phillips
included
Park?
any of Little Earth. Yeah.
It was
Okay,
still
then.
South High.
Yeah. When they had to dump, it was still South High. South High was here at the
So
time.
the city dump was East Phillips Park. There,
Yeah.
got it straight.
And part of the tall buildings.
I was gonna ask the second question, but that question is how did Little Earth gets his name? I'm gonna ask who named that question so I can tell them how did it get its name, and it was a contest. But
And 2 people won.
yes, and what do you think the future of Little Earth is? What do you think the future of Little Earth is gonna look like? These are the theories.
So for me, I think the future of Little Earth looks bright. I'm looking at you 3 in this room, and to me, you guys make it look bright. I look at our YDC, makes it look bright. I see our kids out here playing basketball, our little ones all the way on up with the Red Bears. It looks bright. I see you guys coming out for drum and dance. It looks bright. I think you guys can make Little Earth shine and be beautiful, because every time we have a down, we do have an up. And you guys are our future, and you look bright to me. And I think we have miles to go, but I think we're going to accomplish great things here in this community. And I think we may even be able to build an elders building on property at one time.
Yeah,
And
I hope so.
Right?
Because I don't see it ending. I don't at all.
Lori, you talked about the fight to get a stoplight put on Cedar Street. Can you talk about that fight to protect children from getting hit by cars?
Well, the kids were going right around the fencing they had put up there. They thought they were going to hold us back because there was a fence there, but no.
Wait, the fence around East Phillips?
No.
Not East Phillips, like right out here, the park, there's like a huge fence around that?
Yeah. Well,
It was different. We looked a lot
was
different. Even if you guys go look at the map across the street at the 2501 building, you'll see there was a swimming pool here too at one time.
Yeah, I saw that. It got.
Yep, it's a park now.
I heard it got taken down, but I think one of the reasons is people snuck in there.
No, we had
drowning?
we had a little kid almost drowned, and they were like, that's just too much on our insurance, and it was getting harder and harder to maintain it. So it was just easier to fill it in and put a playground over there. But our kids were getting hit because these cars still drive crazy. You see that. You live
Then
here.
it would have costed $100,000 just to dig it up and bury it again.
Right?
That wouldn't have made any sense.
Right. So the stoplight, that was kind of cool. I went to jail because of that. JDC, by the way. I was young. But a stoplight at that time costed like $15,000. So they sent out SWAT and all the officers out here to prevent us from blocking off Cedar Avenue 2 days in a row. And it costed the city of Minneapolis $50,000 to do that. Finally, they put in a stoplight because I think somebody did the numbers and figured out how dumb they were. But somewhere, I think I was telling, I don't know who I was telling, but I was telling somebody about when we were protesting. So we didn't have the big fences that are on Cedar right now. So we were standing on our property where our property line ends at the sidewalk. Mm-hmm. And SWAT was standing on the sidewalk, and we were all face to face, like this far apart. And Star and Trib took a picture going down there. So you see natives on one side, cops on the other. That's a cool picture, and I haven't seen it in a long time, but I wanted you guys to know that. But yeah, just that bridge isn't enough. We need a stoplight. And they argued that nobody else had them, but at the time on Cedar Riverside, had it. They had a bridge and a stoplight.
There's one question that asks, is there any major events that happen in Low Earth? But you just told one, so that's check. Did we really need a paper?
Did everyone get a chance to answer what is the future of Little Earth?
Did everybody? Come on. Raise your hand.
I think as long as we have young people at Little Earth, families and young people, that the future looks good for Little Earth. Everything we've done in the past was everything my father, mother, and people that lived here did was for me because I was young. And now that we're older, the fight is for you guys now to keep Little Earth, keep Little Earth strong. So I think the future is bright. I see a lot of good things going on here at Little Earth. The good ways outweighs the bad. So yeah, I think it's bright.
I'll agree with you on that. That question, what's the future of Little Earth? The future is with you all young ones. You are the future. So that's why as an older person, I will encourage you. I will support you. And just like any other adult that's from here, we truly care about you. Whether you've seen me before or you haven't, I care. I do care about you. You guys are young, indigenous boys and girls. And I was once you. I was once a young person growing up here. And I always think about our youth. I always think about you. I also have kids too, you know, and it's why I really care so much for our community and try to share anything that I can with y'all. Encouragement. Don't ask me for any money because I don't have any money. But you know, if I had money, yeah. No, seriously, I'm just here to support you all because you guys are the future. It's what you're going to make of your life, you know. And that's why we want to see the best for you because the best in you is going to be the best for us and our future.
I'd like to see Little Earth grow some more. Start taking down these buildings one at a time and put new buildings in. I don't see it stopping. I don't care to entertain the thought that Little Earth isn't going to be here for my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren because there's too many of them now.
Look at what we're doing right now. I like stuff like this. I love doing stuff like this with kids, intergenerational. It seems like Little Earth always has something going on too, you know. Ice cream social. They have, when it rains, you'll see a bunch of kids running around outside enjoying it. You know, I did that as a kid. So when I watch you guys do it, I'm like, yep, to be young, you know. It's just like so many things are the same and different. I like our community because it's home and nowhere else can we go and not only see brown faces that look like us and people who know us, but it also, when it comes to our culture, to have a feeling of belonging that you don't get in the outside world all the time. That's what I like.
You know what I like about Little Earth is I'm getting older now. I'm 51 years old. I grew up here as a teenager, and I can still drive through, come by, visit, and I can say, you know, it's still here. I don't gotta say, yeah, the projects used to be right here. There used to be a native housing right here. It's still here. We're still here. That's what I like.
Yep, a lot of the other Indian organizations all folded up, but I don't see it diminishing. I just want to say we need to keep fighting. I mean, yeah, we'd fight a good fight, but we still got a long way to go.
I agree, and we're going to continue that fight.
That's good.
Just sitting here with Lori and Jolene is awesome and amazing to me. When I was a kid, they were younger women at that time, you know, but to me, they were grown adults, you know, people that I really, really looked up to and like, wow, you know, like, look how strong they are. They're not scared of anything. And I've learned from that, just watching them. That helped me grow, you know, and that's what I'd like to pass on to you. Like, don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared of.
Yeah, there's nothing to be
You are
afraid
a warrior.
of.
Yeah, we need to get our youth involved in the fight for Little Earth. Can't just be done by older people. We need our youth to get involved. So that's something that's going to challenge us in the next few years here is getting our young people involved.
Yep. And back to that question, what do I like about Little Earth? There's so much I like about it, but you know what's cool? Is Little Earth is well known out here across Native country. Everybody knows about Little Earth. When I tell them I'm from Little Earth, they're like, oh, they think that's cool, you know? We just had the Free Peltier rally where we had all our activist brothers and sisters from South Dakota come over here, Indian Collective, AIM Grassroots, Wombly Ska. And it was just awesome for them to come here and for us to show them our community. You know, that felt really good.
You know, because you guys, here's an extra little history for you guys. You wouldn't be sitting here and doing what you're doing if it wasn't for the American Indian movement. Everything that we have rights to started right here in Minneapolis. You know, religious freedom. We didn't have our religious freedom till 1978, you guys. That's only a generation away from you. Can you believe that we couldn't practice our religion or our spiritual beliefs till 1978? And we had to have a law to be able to do it. You know, Leonard Peltier, who they're talking about right now, he gave up his freedom fighting for something. You guys need to watch a show called Incident at Ogallala to get started. And you need to look at our history of American Indian movement and everything they've done here in Minneapolis for us. Almost every single Native program in Minneapolis is because of them.
What's the best way for you to get...
I wasn't gonna ask a question. I was gonna add something to it. There's actually a couple things that I was gonna say. What I think one of the things is the future of Little Earth is those two parks, East Phillips and that park out there. Because yesterday we were helping design them. Is that right? Yeah. Also, my favorite thing about Little Earth is back when I was younger, my favorite thing was the ice cream truck. It would just pull up, and if I had an extra $1, I would just go up there. But another thing I like about it is here, because this place teaches you a lot of things. There's a lot of fun things like this. You got stuff out there. You got internships, which I never really had. I probably had to wait another year before or even 2 years, just to get a job. But I love this place because it's fun. I made a lot of new friends, met a lot of old people, met a lot of old friends.
Who's old?
This one.
He ain't talking about me. He just met.
No. I mean like that.
We're young elders.
I didn't mean it like that, but I got to meet some old friends a couple of years ago, like Candy and Frank. I known them for a little while, and made some new friends, especially with the internship. I met a lot of new people, and here I'm doing a podcast with all of you people.
Yay.
And hopefully this will become a standard for Little Earth. We'll have podcasts going on whenever we need it.
Sweet, that'd be sweet.
So, what's the best way for you to get involved? And also, what would you tell a younger version of yourself about Little Earth?
Don't tell in the future.
I'm already too involved. I already do a lot of things for Little Earth. As I started out as a kid, so I'm lucky. What I'm telling you about AIM was real true. AIM was very moving, and they moved a lot of kids that were my age at that time. They had a lot of things for us to do. We were protesting Little Earth. We marched down to the federal building, yelling, "Hell no, we won't go." That was our slogan. We did. There was so much to do. But I'm still involved in the community, even though I'm 61 years old. I participate with the Little Earth Protectors. I do make voting a tradition, what is getting out our vote, because there is power in our vote, because we're a sovereign people, and we need to vote to exercise our sovereign rights, to vote to make sure we have people in office who listen to us. I don't know if I answered your question good enough.
If I understand the question right, like for me, I didn't even know this podcast was going on today. I swung by to visit my bro Vinny, and he told me that there was going to be a podcast with some young people talking about the history of Little Earth, and that's something I'm very passionate about. So I just came and showed up. I'm glad I did. I had other plans, but I'm glad I squashed all them plans and I came here. So you young people, when you get older and you hear something about Little Earth, maybe you can come back here and talk about your experiences here.
You got to keep the record straight. Because now you all three got a record of Little Earth, so keep it straight. Sorry, Lori.
Hopefully we'll have a podcast of our own right on property here where we can air things live instead of going visit here and there and everywhere. But because we never had a podcast.
Never. This is new. You see, you guys are creating history right now for us. Awesome.
What was that question again?
What's the best way for youth to get involved, and what would you tell a younger version of yourself about Little Earth?
For youth to get involved?
Yeah.
Youth or you?
Youth.
Youth. That's a great question because we do need the youth to get involved. Right now, we just started, actually there's 4 of us here, co-founders of the Indigenous Protector Movement. And that is maybe the next generation's aim. And that is a chance for you all to be involved, We're the older ones, but we're doing it for the youth. Of course, maybe Dr. Nick Estes could speak more on that, but there's just a lot of work to be done in this community. We're facing so much different things, and without us using our voices or standing up, we're going to keep getting ran over. And that's what we love about AIM so much. That's why I love these 2 ladies here so much. They don't take nothing from nobody. And I learned from that, and I try to do the same thing. We're going to fight the system, because if we don't fight the system when we're getting ran over, they're just going to continue doing it. And that's something we want to teach the young ones, And my take, the younger people behind me are smarter than I am. They're learning the colonized systems, the schools. They're getting educated, and with that education, then we can take the fight to where they're at. And that's why I'll encourage you all to stay in school, get that education. Not just for yourselves, but for your community and your families. And what was the second question of that?
What would you tell a younger version of yourself about Little Earth?
That's such a great question. Anyone that knows my history knows at one point in time, I kind of was a bad boy. I got caught up in all the tough guy stuff that runs around here, Starting out being an athlete, I was a pretty good athlete here, played on all the sports teams, and then that's when the gangs really started heating up around here. And I tried my best to stay away from them, but it was just, at that point in time, it was just too big. You were, whether you liked it or not, they thought you were a part of a gang because of who your cousin was. And it might be the same way, or who your brothers were. And so that's what I would tell myself. Do not join a gang. Do not use drugs. That would be the main thing I think I would tell myself, because I've been living outside of those 2 things, I've been living a pretty good life. And a lot of positive things have been coming from that. And that was a great question. Thank you.
I would tell myself, if you ain't from Little Earth, stay the hell out of Little Earth. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. It's a bad joke. Nah, back in my day, Little Earth was a good place. It was and it still is. But outsiders see it as a tough place, Mm-hmm. So I would just joke with them and say that to them as a joke. They look at it. They look at Little Earth people as like it's kind of rough around the edges, and apparently they haven't been to Chicago or New York or somewhere, man. It's nice around here. I've traveled a lot in my years of following. Been to a lot of places, but there ain't no place like home, and home is Little Earth for me. So yeah.
What would I tell my younger self? Don't get involved. but I did. And that brought me into my older self. And that when I finally decided not to get involved, it was too late. But I look back on it all as a great political experience, a really good experience as a native, and plus I get to go down memory lane with my my tribal affiliations too. So I thought I could say that no, don't get involved, because I knew I would.
I just want to take this chance to publicly thank Lori and Jolene for everything they did for Little Earth throughout the years growing up. My dad did a lot of work here, but of course he didn't do it all by himself. He had good young people that helped him, like Lori, like Jolene, countless others.
Something we still have.
So Chimigwich.
Something we still have, you guys, is the Little Earth Mother's Day powwow. So when AIM took over, that following May, Hartley Skinador, I believe, was our manager. That following May, we had our first Mother's Day powwow ever.
Thank you for sharing your stories. What should the next episode be about?
There's more?
I think your next episode should be about youth leadership and where they want to go and what they think Little Earth's future looks like.
Right.
So
Better be
somebody's
something
educating
good.
me on what you guys want.
Better be something good.
I think Jolene hit the nail on the head.
If we're gonna
We
make
couldn't have did it without each other. And there was always somebody waiting in the wings to take over when you're not available to do anything. If you get sick, or if your family doesn't feel like you're up for it, you know, there always was somebody there just waiting to take over. I love that about Little Earth. And I know 40 years from now, well, I won't be around, but my kids will be.
I'll be 101 and I'll be here.
If we're gonna make a youth podcast thing, it better be something good. Cause you can't have anything bad. Don't think about the bad memories. Cause if you're gonna think about the bad memories, then you're just holding on to it. Sometimes you just have to forget. But
There's nothing to hang on to there.
Right?
Mm-hmm. It may be hard to forget, but sometimes you do. Because if you hold on to that one problem, with your life, it may become a big problem with the rest of your life.
I agree.
So if you have a problem in life, don't say it's a problem in your life. It's a problem in your life right now. It's at this moment. But if there could be something in the past, something that happened a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago, don't think about that. Don't think, this one problem happened and I can't do with what the rest of it is. Don't think about that one problem. It may be frustrating to start over, or it's hard to forget something. Like, what is it? My grandma and a couple of my family members, they watched 2001 take place, and guess what happened? They forgot. Not everybody forgot, but just didn't really think much of it after a while. But a lot of tragic things happened over the years, but you can't let that one thing can't let that one thing bad thing take over your life, because you need to just keep on going. Because a couple of years ago I lost was almost practically 5, maybe 6 family members in like a span of a year. That was that was pretty devastating for my family. But here we kept on going, but we never forgot about them. And that's you know, it was hard at first, but you know, we kept on going.
That's what living through adversity does to you. It makes you strong. It tempers you to be strong-willed. And then before you know it, you're a leader, and boom, people look up to you.
And then you're us answering questions.
Yes, then you're old like us. It's going to happen. Just like at one time, we were all young people just like you. And I mean, I always remember that too, because I was a young person right here, a young, innocent kid. And like when I'm with my kids now, some people think I'm like a big, strong guy, right? But I'm really emotional. And I was at my son's 5th grade promotion last year, and I literally started crying because I put myself back in his shoes, or in my shoes when I was that age. And I was watching them up there, and they were singing a nice little song, you know. And I went back to when I was in 5th grade, and I thought about the kids that I hung out with. And from then to now, you want to talk about traumas that it's hard living, especially in our community, because we do lose people. We lose our family members, friends. I think of my baseball team. I lost some friends that died young, you know, and I still think about them too.
Play baseball.
Are you any good? Though, is the question.
Can we save this topic for the next episode of the podcast? I think we have the next young Dr. Phil in our midst here. I think we do. And I think the next podcast is going to be awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, I sure do.
I got one question. You guys might laugh. Who's Dr. Phil?
Channel 4, 3 o'clock. Check it out. Check it out tomorrow. I'm not saying you look like him. You got a mind like him, and that's a good thing.
There's many rivers to cross, and you'll be hopefully around for a long time to cross those rivers.